Actually, mold isn't that scary at all. Molds are fungi and it's a good thing in their right place, outside. But molds reproduce by sending out microscopic airborne spores. There is no way to keep the spores out of your home. All they need to start growing is something to grow on and moisture.
Mold is everywhere. It's outdoors, it's indoors, and we're all exposed to mold spores every day. Outdoor sources of mold, soil and plants and decomposing leaves, is the way that nature breaks down organic matter. And as it does that, the spores are released into the air and then pass through openings in the house and into the home. And most homes have a normal amount of mold spores that are lower than outdoors. If, however, the home has high levels of chronic moisture, those mold spores can germinate and produce mold. And so the best way to prevent a mold problem in your home is to control the moisture.
How can you tell if you have mold? Your nose knows. Even after one day, a damp towel has that distinctive moldy smell. You see this dark stuff that's growing around this tub? That's mold. Mold loves moisture. Unvented bathrooms, laundry rooms, crawl spaces, and basements. It can grow inside a wall or even on the back of wallpaper. Often it shows up as a dark stain that can be brown, yellow, green, or black. If the humidity is high enough, it will grow on a cool outside wall behind furniture where it may go unnoticed. There are many different kinds of mold, and some are a greater health risk than others.
Many people have a small amount of mold in their home, and the majority of people do just fine. If there's a high exposure to mold, then yes, even someone who maybe just is slightly sensitive will have an allergic reaction where they can have a rash, where they can have itchy eyes, runny nose. If they have asthma, could trigger their asthma, and then they will have coughing and wheezing and congestion. So it depends on your makeup and whether you are sensitive to have allergies or you're sensitive to have asthma.
While mold can cause health problems, it's also hazardous to your home. Mold left unchecked will cause damage to anything it grows on. That includes wall studs, floor, and ceiling joists, and it loves wallboard. What the mold doesn't eat, the moisture will ruin. Once water soaks carpets, drapes, or upholstered furniture, you only have about 48 hours to get them dry before they are lost to mold. What do you do about mold after you find it in your home? First, stop the moisture. Second, clean up the mold. Roof leaks, plumbing leaks, and water in the basement should be treated with almost the same urgency as a fire. If you wait, things will only get worse.
A damp basement is not only a potential problem for the basement, but the excess moisture and mold spores can also make it into the living space above. Basements being below ground level often have surface water that may come through the brick or the block and come into the basement by evaporation. Also, you may have groundwater intrusion into the basement from leaky foundations that will also, over time, allow moisture to come into the basement. Here's something that's often confused with mold. This is efflorescence, and it's caused by the minerals that are within the masonry being carried by the water that's coming through the block and deposited here as the moisture evaporates and this is left behind. Other sources of moisture in basements include the concrete floor, which tends to wick moisture from the ground below and allow it to evaporate into the air. Anything that interferes with that fast evaporation of moisture from the concrete may potentially become a source of mold growth that could be important. Overhead leaks of pipes, sewer lines that may leak are additional sources that should be managed within a basement. Before you hire a contractor to do expensive work in the basement, there are things you should do outside to stop water from coming into the foundation. We can redirect downspouts so that they move water away from the foundation. We can prevent the accumulation of leaves and other debris in the immediate vicinity of window wells. We can make sure that the property is properly graded so that rainwater is directed away from the foundation instead of coming back toward the home. And also, making sure that your gutters are clear so that the water does not go over the gutters and then come down along the side of the facade of the home and enter wall cavities and ultimately into the basement also help to keep moisture out. Damage flashing around chimneys, missing shingles, skylights that may be leaking, or flashing around vent pipes all allow moisture to go into the roof and potentially make it into the attic.
Water from flooding or sewer backup carries with it other problems because flood or sewer water can contain biological and chemical toxins. It can be a serious health risk and requires special cleanup methods that should be done by a professional. Big leaks are obvious and are taken care of quickly. It's the little leaks that go unnoticed for a long time that could cause just as much damage. Look at this. This little drip runs down the hose, puddles under the washer, seeps under the molding, and is soaking something somewhere and is growing mold 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Other culprits that often get overlooked are traps under sinks and shutoff valves. You don't need a leak to grow mold. High humidity in your home can make a perfect environment. Ideally, relative humidity in your home should be between 30 and 50%. Relative humidity is how much moisture is in the air. Warm air holds more moisture than cold air, and when the warm, moist air touches a cool surface like a window pane or a cool outside wall, the water vapor turns back into water. Now you're ready to grow mold. One way to check the relative humidity is with an indicator like this, but they cost about $40. There is a simpler way. A good rule of thumb is if you have continuous condensation on